Hey! Wow, it's Saturday! Welcome, Normal American Show host robnoerr. Oh my goodness, what a great Saturday. My goodness. I had a day planned. It did not go as I planned, but that's okay. Sometimes that happens. And there's one person to blame. Hank Knorr. That's right, my son. Absolutely devastating my plans for the day. We thought it'd be fun to go. Like our Christmas lights last year, we got like the big bulbs. We only had like one or two strings going up around our house, but it was all right. We plan to add to them every year. Well, I don't know what happened, but we were testing them, and I've replaced bulb after bulb. It's just not working. So I don't know if there's a short in the wire. Anyways, at this point, we figured, well, heck, let's go out and just buy a set of lights that are all sort of the same size and that they'll look good to put up as a big set. And Hank was all excited yesterday. And today he was just like, no, I don't want to go. Nope. So I was like, okay. So I had some calls to make, talked to some great people. And then we decided, fine, we'll just stay in for the night. I got some more business to attend to. I have a hard out at around 5:20. I'll be heading out. So we got about 2 hours. And then he says, I want to go get Christmas lights now. So I was like, let's do it after dinner. So 5:20, I got a hard out, got some business to attend to. Then we'll have dinner, and then we will proceed with a little late night Christmas shopping. So because of that, I figured, well, let's get the stream in now. Let's do it. So I actually prefer these earlier streams on Saturday. That way I could sort of have at least all of Saturday evening with my family. Get up and go to church tomorrow. Don't have to worry about anything. Staying up late and then being tired at church. You know, that sort of good stuff. So there we go. Hank Miller putting the kibosh on my day today. He's a great man, though. That Hank is a great man. He's the best man I've ever met. He's a good guy. So, what's up, Jim Bob? What a pleasure to meet you and your wife, by the way, Jim Bob, down at the Baycom. It was a lot of fun. As advertised, Jim Bob, as advertised. Excellent debater. Great guy. Hilarious. Very broad shoulders. Like the camera must have a very slimming effect on his shoulders. You wouldn't believe. I've never seen a more masculine set of shoulders in my entire life than Jim Bob in person. And hey, if you weren't at DebateCon, you missed it. You could have seen for yourself. Anyways, today I thought what we would do is just a call-in show. I'll talk about several topics that we could talk about, but obviously it's your show as much as mine. So anything you want to talk about, criticisms of me, dumb drama stuff, questions about DebateCon or comments about it, questions about Word War, the big project we have coming up here. It's going to be January 10th. It's going to be phenomenal. You should get your tickets now because particularly those VIP tickets, they're going to go fast. And we're going to have more to announce about the people that are coming to debate at Word War and sort of what to expect from it. There's going to be more coming up. So get in now while you can, or else you may end up not being able to lounge around the VIP section. And that would be a shame because it is quite the VIP section. So where is Word War? It's going to be at the ACX1 studios and right in the center on the boardwalk in Atlantic City there. So it's actually attached to Caesar's Palace in Atlantic City. So Joe mentioned on Discord that he wanted to talk to me. Old Joe? Oh. Yeah, I'll reach out to him, man. He's a good guy. So I always forget to check my Discord. Yeah, World War I coming up. It's good. World War I, 2, and 3, you know, those will all be, once we get to like World War like 14, it's like, I think it should be like the wrestling pay-per-views used to be where they have subtitles, you know. World War I, the Archduke is back, right? World War II, Austrian painter extravaganza. You know, I think it'd be all right. We'll see, though. My ideas never fly. Is Jim Bob going to do any Word War? We shall see. Now, full disclosure, this is how much input I have on like booking and things like that. I'm more doing things on the production end of things, particularly setting up how the format's going to look for the debates and other things like that. World War VI, Modern Warfare. Not bad. Yes. That's good. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. So there's Trump talking to Mamdani. We talked about that a little yesterday. You know, I think what I should start doing these Saturday shows is start talking about stories of the past that we've sort of let slide that still infuriate me. Like, I don't know, COVID. Remember that? You guys remember that? Let me tell you a story about COVID real quick and get some yelling. I should have shut the door. My wife's going to yell at me for yelling here in a second. Now, I sort of spent my entire life, my adult life, let's put it that way. Once I started to debate in college, I started to like dabble in politics a little. I sort of had a general hatred for almost every politician. I liked Ron Paul, but that's about it. And my redneck friends back home here, their approach to it was sort of like, eh. I'm like the crazy homeless man on the corner with the sign that says the end is near. People are like, okay, man, whatever. So they just kind of, no one wanted to talk about politics in my neck of the woods. No one cared. And, even when I ran for Congress, it was ho-hum, and people were nice, don't get me wrong, but, I have some sympathy for some, people that are starting families and are working blue-collar jobs. They ain't soft like me. These aren't like fat, out-of-shape dudes. Well, some of them are overweight, but these are dudes waking up at 5 a.m. and going and doing real work. Like real work. Welding. I know some dudes that do concrete, carpenters, roofers, shit like that. Real dudes. And they don't really, I sympathize with them. They don't really want to think about politics. Whatever, man. And they just have this general view of like, it's all bullshit anyways. It's just a bunch of people taking my tax dollars and spending it on frivolous bullshit. And the world gets smaller and smaller for them. Now, we're fortunate where I live. We're in an area of the world where, you know what? You'll probably be born and you'll probably die. At least this is their thought. And you're not going to have to worry about who the president is. You're not going to have to worry about like national politics. You look at a place like Dearborn, Michigan with all the like crazy shit going on with like the infiltration of people from Somalia. And you're like, whatever. That ain't our neck of the woods. We're still excited for hunting season. You're still excited to see, which one of your friends gets the biggest deer every year. Everybody's talking about their new boats or their snowmobiles that they got and shit like that. That's it. That's my neck of the woods. That's how people were. And I'd be like, I don't know, man. I think that culture and politics is eventually going to affect this neck of the woods. And you know what event it was? It hit these people like a fucking slap in the face when the lockdowns happened under COVID. Like a slap in the face. These people that all they want to do is get up every day at the crack of dawn and go do the jobs, the blue collar work that makes soft people like me and my life possible. That's all they want to do. Just be left alone. And now they were told they couldn't work. And they were told their kids couldn't go to school. And they were told that they couldn't go to hang out with their friends at a restaurant. And they couldn't go visit their parents or their grandparents in a nursing home. That's what in Pennsylvania, that's what we were told. I had a friend owns a restaurant. I'm not making this up, by the way. This is totally true. I forget exactly what the regulations were, but there were regulations not just on how many people could go into his restaurant just to get takeout food, but there was regulations on what hours he was allowed to be open. Our governor, Tom Wolf, literally sent an agent to sit in the parking lot to watch like a hawk to make sure that this wasn't being violated. Just that extra little bit of surveillance to make sure that my friend couldn't make a living. That's what they did to my friend. That's what these pricks did. Meanwhile, I'm working in home health care with people that have autism and shit. I had to break the guy that I've worked with for 14 years' heart to tell him we weren't allowed to go fishing anymore. Now, the location we went fishing was not the greatest fishing hole in the world. It was a location specifically chosen for its remoteness. So we could have fun and didn't have to worry about crossing lines with someone else. We caught fish occasionally, but that wasn't the point. That was the hobby that the gentleman I was working with autism liked to do the most. That wasn't enough, though. It didn't matter that we were in that remote location. No. You see, the healthcare company I worked for had to have stringent regulations to make sure they didn't run afoul of the state auditors. And so I had to tell my guy, sorry, we can't do that anymore. I'll try to explain to someone with severe learning disabilities that there are these invisible things called germs, and because of that, you can't go out. He couldn't go see his family. It was devastating to people in the mental health field. Many of them, that's all they have. Tenuous connections to their family. Completely ruined them. Shattered these people for years. People I knew with kids that were in high school lost their senior proms, their senior year of football or basketball. And for what? So that my governor, Tom Wolf, could go fucking march with Black Lives Matter, who are busy burning down cities? And I'm screaming into the void to all the Republicans like, what the fuck are you doing? Why aren't you doing anything about this? Well, they didn't focus group it at the time. And people on the outskirts of the Republican Party here in Pennsylvania were telling me like, Rob, settle down. Trust the plan. 15 days to slow the spread. Fuck you. Now, all my friends that never gave a shit about politics, you see, here's the thing. It doesn't matter if you care about the cultural direction that the country's going. It doesn't matter if you care about the political direction the country's going, because it cares about you. I met a guy at the height of this. Shit, this was 2022, I think. But it was months and months and months into it, over a year into it. And I was just casually talking to him. And it was when most of the insanity had stopped. And he said, I haven't seen my mom face to face in 11 months. I said, why not? She's in the nursing home just right down the road. Can't you go visit? Nope. Won't let me in. He had to sit outside the window. His mom, who had dementia, who was scared shitless. You know how many stories there are like that? Elderly people dying scared and alone. They put restrictions on you, the healthy people, and then in my state, they forced the nursing homes to accept COVID patients. So you couldn't go to work, who's 25, we'll say, young and healthy. Your kids that are at almost no risk of COVID couldn't go to school. All under the auspices of, well, what do you want, grandma to die? We have to protect grandma. And there's a chance if your kid goes to school and you go to work, you guys could come together and then bump into grandma and then grandma could get COVID. That would be terrible. And then they actually took COVID patients and put them in with grandma so she could die alone. That's what they did. Now, why do I bring this up today? 2 reasons. One, because we should never forget this shit. That wasn't the end game. That was a trial run. They shut down churches and kept casinos open. That's what they think of you. That's what they think of your faith. They slapped you in the face by supporting groups like Black Lives Matter that were violating lockdown orders left and right. They prevented children from playing in public parks. Meanwhile, they left in illegals through the border that they knew had COVID. Over and over and over again, we saw the politicians like Gavin Newsom violating their own lockdown orders. Whoopsie, my bad. You see, the orders weren't for them, the royalty class. They're for you, the plebes. Where were the No Kings protests, by the way? Where were they? Must have missed that. Didn't have much to say about that, right? About our royal class, particularly Democrats, but some Republicans as well. Fuck them all, I don't care. That forced lockdowns down our throats. Well, they went out and did whatever the fuck they wanted. So that's number one. We should never forget it. Number two, because I was talking today about some strategy, talking with people about some Republican strategy going forward in elections coming up here. And Josh Shapiro, who is our current governor, is someone that has national aspirations. This is a guy that's going to eventually put his hat in the ring to be president or vice president. Maybe not in 2028, though, maybe. But eventually he'll have national aspirations. And would it shock you to learn that when Tom Wolf, my governor during COVID here in Pennsylvania, was instituting all these bullshit lockdown orders, incidentally, his general of health or surgeon general, whatever it was, in Pennsylvania at the time, the top ranking health official in Pennsylvania, do you know who that was during COVID? Let me show you a picture of him. Admiral Levine, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this was a person who was critical in deciding that we should put COVID patients into long-term care facilities like nursing homes. Incidentally, completely unconnected to that, Levine moved his mother out of a long-term care facility immediately before declaring that. Did you know that? Pennsylvania did horrible under COVID. Horrible restrictions. And what happened? The people in charge during that point, they got promoted. Tom Wolf ran out his term limit as governor, but his attorney general was Josh Shapiro, our current governor. Now, I find it amazing that the propaganda in this country is so significant that I could talk to each and every person I know that's furious about the COVID lockdowns, and they wouldn't even fucking know that Josh Shapiro, the current governor, was instrumental in that. That's a testament to the effective propaganda of the Democrats and the establishment and the absolute abysmal failure of the Republicans. If I'm the Republicans right now, I'm running ad after ad after ad. I'm hiring people like me to go around saying, this is what Josh Shapiro did. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican or Democrat. They treated you like shit. They locked you down. Well, they went out and partied it up. And they supported a group in Black Lives Matter, a fucking bullshit leftist agitator group whose founders are now being investigated for funneling millions upon millions of fucking dollars as they were out there doing things like being violent across the country. I felt like damn near a lone voice during COVID, and I certainly feel like a lone voice now. Where's the accountability? People say, I hear this a lot. Operation Warp Speed and the pharmaceuticals and this, that. That's all good. I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, turns out, it probably looks like there was a lot of corners cut, if I'm putting it in the most generous light, of these pharmaceutical companies with their vaccines. And there needs to be accountability. And there needs to be accountability for people like Dr. Fauci. But what about the average shit-level politician? I'm not even saying that it's possible criminal accountability. How is it that there's been no political or cultural ramifications for these people? The most common question I get about the whole thing. It's easy to Monday morning quarterback the pandemic with updated info. Fine. Let's play this out. Kevin, what was the info that people used at the time to justify lockdowns? How did that info justify locking down young, healthy people, but sending COVID patients into nursing homes? How did that information justify locking down regular, hardworking people, but allowing Black Lives Matter to do whatever the fuck they wanted with impunity? How did that info justify allowing COVID, people we know were infected with COVID, to come across the border in both legal and illegal ways? How did that information justify the very leaders that were locking us down violating their own orders? How did that happen? Well, that's Monday morning quarterbacking. How many times have I debated this? So here we go. Here's what I would say. Okay, Kevin, did you support lockdowns? Can you show me the evidence you were looking at the time to support lockdowns? Let's see it. At what point did you support them? At what point did you realize that they were a mistake? I want someone to tell me. Someone give me a fucking answer. Because I asked this in real time. And you go back and watch my debates. How can I say I've done this at least 30 times? Here we go. Here, we'll do it again. And I was doing this in real time. There we go. See? We tried to understand. Who's we? How did you try to understand the implications? Show me the science that you were looking at. What was it that you tried to do? And the people that were actually trying to enforce them, please show me the evidence they were looking at. What a load of shit. We tried our best. Yes, Gavin Newsom tried his best as he was out violating his own orders at the French Laundry. Yes, they tried their best in places like Pennsylvania and New York, where they were forcing nursing homes to take COVID patients. They tried their best. Bullshit. Did they also try their best when they were gaslighting us that it couldn't have came from a lab in Wuhan? When they were pressuring social media to censor people that had opinions that they didn't like? Was that them trying their best? No. Don't fucking say we as if I'm lumped in with you. You're right. I did try my best, and I'm on the right side of history. And you fucks are on the absolute wrong side of it. So don't say we, lumping me in with you as we the people. Fuck you. I had a very simple calculus. My calculus was, before I tell other people that they can't do things like go to fucking church, then I better have damn good evidence that shows it's necessary. Not you fuckers. You fuckers said, let's ruin people's lives. We don't give a fuck on a hope and a prayer. Fuck you. I tried my best. Fuck you, you fear-mongering piece of shit. How about, what if we tried our best and threw your fucking ass in prison to make sure that you could never do something this damaging again? We were just doing the best with the available information at the time. Fuck you. Fucking outrageous. Even from outside of a fucking, religious moral framework. If we go with the secularist framework of rights and shit, show me where the fucking Constitution says, oh, and by the way, all of this shit about free assembly and stuff, freedom of religion, your ability to go to church, it only applies if there's not a cold. Show me. I've done this 30 times. Here, let's try. Hey, everyone in the audience, can you let me know in the chat? I'm going to ask you a real simple question. There's going to be two questions here. The first question, are you a virologist? Or somehow any other experts in pandemics? A yes or a no will suffice. So to the audience, are you somehow an expert in pandemics? Are you a virologist? Go Ram says yes, fuck him. He's out of the conversation then. Nicholas, out of the conversation. Okay, that looks like, I mean, I don't know. The people saying yes, then don't answer this next question. All right, those of you that said no, you're not an expert, you're a layman like me. Now let's do a little experiment. There's going to be this really scary aerial virus that's coming next year. And it could actually have a lot of negative implications to people. Who do you think are the people that will be most at risk for this? Just give me some general, you laymen out there. Who do you think it would negatively affect the most? Seeing a lot of very young and very old people. People with that are immune compromised. Overweight. A lot of people seem to imply, as laymen, one of the groups that would be most affected are people with other ailments and old people. So can anyone with half a brain explain to me why the fuck that the actual virologists in positions of power locked us down to protect the elderly and then force COVID patients in with the very fucking population that every layman here knows would be most likely to be negative affected by the virus? Where is the fucking logic in it? And then you have people like Kevin. We tried our best. We didn't know. We tried our best. We tried our best. You see, it turns out the experts on biology know less than the average fucking guy sitting in a bar on a Saturday watching college football. Somehow the experts know less. All right, Rob, you're not an expert, are you? No. All right, so here's the deal, man. There's this bad virus. We're going to call it coronavirus, COVID, some shit like that. Oh, man. And we think we're going to tell people to stay indoors and shit. Wow, it's that serious, yeah. And, we're really afraid if they don't stay indoors, that particularly the elderly, like in elderly people that have other illnesses, they could get sick and die. Man, that's fucking crazy. That sounds horrible. But we're also going to put people infected in the virus into the very nursing homes with infirmed old people. Wait, whoa. Run that back? What was that? If you're afraid that healthy people working could possibly give these elderly people in nursing homes the virus, then and you have to lock them down, why in God's name would you put actual COVID patients in the same facilities with them? Well, it's necessary. And if anyone ever questions it later, we'll say we tried our best. But don't worry, people like Kevin Invincible, they'll toe that fucking line. Don't worry. They're out there. They'll say, absolutely, we tried our best when we sent COVID patients into nursing homes. Yep. We tried our best when Gavin Newsom and all these other people were violating their own orders. Yep. We tried our best when we allowed Black Lives Matter to go out and do whatever they wanted and then told people like those going to Sturgis that they were spreading the virus. Yep. We tried our best. It was just our best. That's what we were doing. That will be the prevailing narrative. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that you can see in my very audience is why there will never be accountability. No, you didn't say there were missteps. You excused the missteps by saying they tried their best and refused to answer for any of your dog shit fucking opinions and authoritarianism at the time. Of course, there were missteps. Let's steelman Kevin's argument. Hey, Rob, of course there were missteps, but it's a long time ago. What can we do now? Oh, well, we're all trying our best with limited information. And now to call it out's Monday morning quarterbacking. Fuck you. From the bottom, I mean this more than almost anything else. You, Kevin, are such a low-life piece of fucking shit that are making excuses for this shit. I find you to be the lowest of the fucking low, man. I fucking despise people like you. You're a fucking stain on everything that's good in this world. You're a stain on every free-thinking person, you fucking bootlicking authoritarian lemon. Fuck you. You piece of shit. You ought to be ashamed. Every day you go to bed, you ought to be kept up at night saying, what a fucking piece of shit I am. You fucking asshole. When did I say I'm done upholding my principles? Now I get it. You're a lefty. Here's what happened. I, unlike you, fucking sack of shit, lefty, garbage, fucking ass-licking, authoritarian, excuse-making motherfuckers, what I did was after one of your people murdered Charlie Kirk and you motherfuckers celebrated it, and then the ones of you that weren't opening celebrating it were busy saying, well, Charlie Kirk is a fascist. He sort of had it coming. I said that because unlike you, I am a fucking principled person and was willing to, even in that moment, say I didn't like what Trump's head of the FEC said. I didn't like it. Only to watch you motherfuckers who defended Jimmy Kimmel trying to claim Republicans are doing everything you can to distance themselves from the shooter, implying to the people that it was Republicans that shot this man. I said that I ought to know better than to actually stand by my principles to give you motherfuckers 1 inch. That's what I said. Because unlike you motherfuckers, I'll actually do videos saying when I think my side's wrong. Not you fucking sacks of shit. Then you think it's a sign of weakness when I say, fuck you people. I'll give you nothing. I'll talk to my audience. I'll talk to people that actually gave a shit about the corruption. Them I'll have a serious conversation, but not pieces of shit like you. I owe you fucking nothing. May you suffer the fucking indignity that you wanted to force on others. May you die alone in a fucking nursing home with dementia. As authorities say that your loved ones aren't allowed to visit you. Maybe they'll put someone with a fucking pandemic next to you in the nursing home, you piece of shit. And then as you die your last breath saying, where was someone to speak up for me? You'll know that you got exactly what you deserved. Or maybe not. Maybe you'll die rich and happy. With my condition with COVID, I could have been gone. And yet I got COVID and wasn't. Isn't that interesting? With your condition of chronic stupidity, you could be gone every time you cross the street. So we should lock you in your home, correct? You could, right? You could die crossing the street. So let's lock you in your motherfucking home, right? You could. It could happen. You're not fat. Let me get this straight. So I say that you could, I say you're stupid, and I say crossing the street you could get hit by a car, and then you prove your stupidity by saying, yeah, but I'm not fat. But you've illustrated that you're dumb. Man, I wish, just for one fucking moment, that these people would suffer the consequences which they sought to inflict on other people. Just once. Just once, I'd like to see it. Rob, why do you get fired up about this shit? Why don't you? I get fired up because I saw lives ruined and nothing done about it. Excuse the audio quality on this. Here's a video I did June 4th in 2020. Also, I was even fatter back then. Ready? June 4th, 2020. Here's the link. On May 11th, Governor Wolf came out and released a statement on county commissioners that were threatening to violate his lockdown orders and open up. The reason they were doing this is because they were concerned their constituents were losing their livelihoods, not being able to go to work. Wolf was not impressed with this and thought that there would be consequences for people breaking his law and that it would lead to the virus spreading and putting everyone's life in jeopardy. Here's from his statement. In his latest press briefing, Governor Tom Wolf responded to the politicians planning to defy the stay-at-home order. He called the move a cowardly act and reminded politicians they're putting lives at risk. In recent days, politicians in various counties sent letters notifying them their plans to move from red phase to yellow on May 15th. According to the governor, counties that do not follow the stay-at-home order will not get funding because they're putting all of us at risk and operating illegally. He said non-compliant counties will not qualify for federal discretionary funds. Quote, to these politicians who decide to cave in to this coronavirus, they need to realize the consequences of their cowardly act. The funding we'll have put aside to help fighting this crisis will go to the folks who are doing their part. And that includes our CARES Act funding that will be used to support counties that are following orders to prevent the spread. Wolf told business owners that these politicians are putting their businesses at risk of losing their health department certificate, liquor license, and certificate of occupancies. Now, think of what he's saying there. If you live in a county and your county says, okay, go ahead and open up, and Tom Wolf disagrees and says that violates his order, he'll take your license to operate. He'll take your health certificate. He called you a coward. He said that if you break the law, there'll be consequences. He had no time for this. He said that it would lead to deaths. Now, fast forward to Monday. There was supposed to be a press conference with Tom Wolf. He had put out a statement over the weekend that was completely opposite when it came to the protests that were occurring in Pennsylvania about the death of George Floyd. Now, despite these facts that these protests had riots that occurred in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, Tom Wolf still played lip service to him and talked about the need to fight systemic racism and why these protests were important. My friend Todd Bartley was able to attend the press conference and Wednesday was going to be able to ask Secretary Levine of the Department of Health why Tom Wolf called people cowards who wanted to open their businesses and provide for their family, but he celebrated protesters, some of which ended up leading to riots in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia that wanted to protest about a cop killing someone states over. 15 minutes before he went in to ask this question, he found out that in Dauphin County, where Harrisburg is located, it's still under code yellow, which he'd known that, which means you can't have large gatherings. 15 minutes before he got to ask the question, he heard that Tom Wolf was personally in Dauphin County at a protest that had over 200 people. In other words, Tom Wolf was breaking his own law. And so he decided to ask Secretary Levine what was going on. Here's the question and her response.
Secretary, Dauphin County just moved to yellow on May 29th, which means no large gatherings. And apparently there's a march going on that has more than 200 people in it today in Dauphin County. Can you clarify the administration's position on May 11th? Business owners were called cowards for wanting to reopen their businesses, and today the governor is actually marching in that. Is that not in violation of your order and his order for large gatherings?
Well, so we have, then the governor has always said that people have the right to protest and to demonstrate and the right of free speech. And so overall, we want large gatherings such as maybe a party or some type of concert or something to be under 250 people. But we are not restricting people's right to protest. There are also obviously significant social issues, that are present, that people feel that they need to have a voice. And so the governor is always supportive of that and is participating in that. April, there is a question back there.
Now, notice she didn't offer up for a follow-up because my friend Todd would have said, that's outrageous. You said that people that violated the law would face consequences, would not get federal funding or money, and they would lose their job. Why doesn't that apply to Tom Wolf? It was one thing for him to pay lip service to these protesters that were breaking the law, but he himself breaking the law is an outrage. This is indicative of what we've seen from leaders all across their country, on this country. They don't feel the rules apply to them. They think they can threaten you. Remember, it wasn't as if he said, I understand people that want to open their business, but, unfortunately, we think it'll cause the virus to spread and kill people. He called you a coward. He threatened you. If you want to feed your family, you are a coward. If you want to protest a cop that died states over, then you're a noble hero. Why is it that COVID can't spread all of a sudden in these crowds? Are they lying when they said that we need to shut down? Because if otherwise the virus would spread and kill people? Or are they lying when they say that the protests won't spread the virus? I think it's the former. I think this is evidence that they didn't care about these deaths, as evidence of the fact that Tom Wolf's policy was to put nursing home patients with COVID back in the nursing home, therefore encouraging the spread and leading to mass deaths there. And now we see evidence that he doesn't even believe his own lies. He'll threaten you if you want to provide for your family, but if he wants to go out and get a photo op to be with these protesters, he thinks that's highly appropriate. Call your state representative. Demand that we lift these lockdowns now. If they're good enough to not be enforced for Tom Wolf, then your family's just as important. We're sick and tired of leaders, people like Tom Wolf, that stand on a moral high ground and threaten us and claim that they know what they're talking about, then violating the very same things and laws that they pass that they demand we enforce. They don't care about your family and livelihood. All they care about is increasing their power. And that's what the lockdown was about the entire time. That was June 2020. You're politically agnostic. You're also fucked. See you, shithead. He was trying his best. Tom Wolf was trying his best, right? Now, his guy, Josh Shapiro, is governor. The very guy that enforced these lockdowns, that was attorney general at the time, Josh Shapiro, is now governor of this country, or this state. And guess what? He'll win again in 2026. And the best attack against Josh Shapiro is what you just saw. But once more, when it comes to politics here in Pennsylvania, I'll be a lone voice yelling into the fucking void. People telling me, calm down, Rob. Why do you get so animated about this shit? Meanwhile, I still have friends that are picking up the pieces, losing their jobs, losing their small business. Their children lost years of schooling. They lost family members. They're unable to have weddings, unable to have funerals. We forget about these big stories. We move on. And there's always the next horrible shit that happens, the next issue of corruption. Someone could easily sit here and say, Rob, what are we supposed to do about COVID now? I can't afford groceries today. I'll never be able to buy a house. What the fuck do I care about COVID anymore for? I understand, but you have to understand these are interconnected. COVID's a seminal moment because I think that it affected everyone. Not the virus, but the reaction. And people could see how much bullshit it all was. And yet, not only did Republicans not capitalize, many times they engaged right with it. And we saw an enormous transfer of wealth from the poor and working class to the upper class during it. People don't want to admit, I was lied to. This was outrageous. They say, well, we all tried to do our best. It's Monday morning quarterbacking at this point. Last thing I'll say, then we'll open the phone lines. You can talk about whatever you want, this included. I oftentimes look around the world for inspiration or hope or analogous situations to see sort of prediction of how people will react. To me, the countries that are most similar to the United States, and of course, no two countries are completely similar. UK, Canada, these are countries that are most similar to us. In the United Kingdom, politicians and police stood by for decades as grooming gangs specifically targeted the domestic population's young daughters, committed the most horrific sexual offenses you could imagine against them, covered it up for years, still continues to go after them with as light a touch as possible, and not one politician, police officer, etc. has been held accountable for this cover-up. And the British people finally rose up in anger and said, "We won't stand for this, Tommy Robinson. Shut your mouth." Yeah, one of the lone guys that was out there. Is Tommy perfect? Nope. Is anyone? Was I perfect when I was screaming about COVID? Nope. But a guy that was so right about that issue so early and was demonized. And that's where the real outrage is. Not for, the groomers or the police and politician that covered up for the groomers. Nope. And I said, would things be that different here? And I was told all the time, yes. The United States would never put up with that. We would rise up. We wouldn't put up with that shit. We're not going to leave this tyranny. And we had COVID. You don't think that affected your children? Of course, not in a heinous way. The exact same as the abuse that occurred with those grooming gangs, but nonetheless. Anarcho-tyranny. Rules for you, but not for the actual criminals out there burning down cities. They got away with it. No accountability. Billions upon billions of dollars ciphered from the working class to the upper class. Lives ruined forever. And I'm here to tell you, they'll get away with it next time too. Might take them 10 or 20 years. They'll get away with it. They will. Unless something radical changes. It'll work just again. It will. And there's an awful lot of us. Hell, maybe it'll be myself. They're like, no, I would never put up with this again. Maybe I just got lucky the first time. Who knows? Maybe I become old and complacent. I don't know. But man, I talked to people, the real people that really I was staggered by during the pandemic, where I was on this website at the time, Above Top Secret, and there were these people that I, for years, I'd talked with, and you get to, just like I get to know some of you. Most of you aren't using your real name in the chat, but you got, your screen names and you got avatars. You get to know people on like a website like that. And so this website, Above Top Secret, basically I would just use it to argue politics. And you get the people, you start to get a feel for each person, where they're at politically. Maybe you're a neocon, maybe you're a lefty, maybe you're like a libertarian. There were a lot of people on there that were constitutional conservatives. And there was this one dude that was a libertarian. And me and this libertarian were flipping shit. Like, what the fuck is this 15 days to slow the spread bullshit? This is fucking nuts. What is happening? And all of these people, man, all of these people that were constitutional conservatives were telling me how wrong I was. Come on, Rob. 15 days to slow the spread. And I was like, we're fucked. We're fucked. We are fucked. I expect big government socialist lefties to be like, yes! Give the government complete control over when we're allowed to leave our home. Yep. Let them micromanage the economy. Yep. But constitutional conservatives, small government conservatives, telling me that I needed to embrace the lockdowns. I was gobsmacked. I was like, what? What are you talking about? And then, wouldn't you know, they were just like Kevin afterwards. I said, now what, motherfuckers? Now that you see the full picture, now, well, we made mistakes. It's easy to criticize now. Guess what, shithead? Next time, you're going to make that mistake again. You're going to make it again. All right. We're going to read super chats. Now that I got my, this is my therapy. I come on and yell about this shit and then, a nice refreshing day the rest of the day. It'll be very nice. Super chats. Flavius, $20 over on Rumble. Thank you so much, my friend, as always. You're always incredibly generous. Says libs will always deflect, but those who want the Republic to continue need to hold our officials responsible. Of course. Werbs, thanks so much, $10. Really appreciate it over there in Rumble. Says, come on, Rob. You know everyone on social media is an expert at everything. Of course, that's true. And we got over here on the YouTube end of things. Ashton Outwine, $5. Thank you, man. Says, for the show, thank you. Our good friend Vox Populi, Jason over there. Thanks for becoming a member. Ashton Outline that gives 5 memberships. Thank you. Naughty Germ, always amazing. Gives $5. Salute to you, man. Thank you as always, my friend. Nicholas Lewis, $20. Says, Rob, how in God's name did you get through that debate with Godless Engineer? The man missed his calling as a dancer, beautifully dodging every point as though he was Fred Astaire. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I hesitate to do the religious debates, and that was one of the easier ones I've done in the sense that he just brought nothing to the table. It was frustrating, but at the same time, sort of illustrative of their worldview, I guess. Call me GL, $5 says, it's happening. Ron Paul meme is still the greatest. Yeah, I love that one too. Bruce, what's up, man? $5 says, here's my impromptu super chat. Yes! Nate Tripp, $5 super sticker. Thank you so much, Nate. AJC, absolute Chad, $50. Man, thank you so much as always, man. Says, so nice to have you back, Rob. Going a week or so without you to yell at someone in chat or without a Rob rant just didn't make the week right. Good to see you back. Hit the like, fellas. Get your donos in. Thank you so much, AJC. I'm happy to be back, man. Mr. Prometheus, $10 says, Rob, I had a stroke the Thursday before the lockdown. So sorry to hear that, man. My only contact for 3 months was my therapist. My granddaughter had been born the week before. I was so lonely, not one step back anymore. You're goddamn right. I watched people shattered, absolutely shattered, and for no reason. None. It didn't even logically make sense. Manichuk, what's up? $10 says, God bless Rob. God bless you, man. By the way, I love the avatar there. Good stuff. Thanks. Ephemeral Wealth, $4.83. Democrat left retard deserve nothing. F them. Yeah. Thanks, man. Gizmo, man. Gizmo's been with me since before those COVID days. Great man. Thank you so much for the $5. Says, you've been this intense for long years and you were right about everything. COVID, BLM, and the laptop. Keep on preaching. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. I hope you're feeling better, too. Magus, thank you so much for being a member again. And James, $5 says, COVID really gave really bad people really good intelligence. Yep. Now, we're going to hit our goal today at $357. There is no night shift today to bail us out. We're going to do it. I have until about 5:15. That gives us about an hour. So, first come, first serve on the call-ins. I will pin that to the top, maybe. There we go. Message pinned. I'm like Avarice, though. I'm going to lose my voice yelling at dumb fuck lefties. Avarice loses his voice just yelling in general. All right. We're going to abide by terms of service, all that good stuff. You all know the drill at this point. No homophobic slurs, no racial slurs, no calls to violence, anything of that nature, no matter how heated the discussion gets. We'll try to get to as many people as possible in the chat. Your job is to keep sending those super chats in so that the people that dislike me can continue to complain that it's clearly bots that are sending that money in. So, Neuron bots, assemble! Get those donos in. All right, here we go. First caller, a man who I was proud to finally meet down at the BayCon. GG, what's happening today, man?
Yo, Rob, it was good to meet you. Good to meet the wife. Good to meet everybody. Yeah, it was a fun time.
It was a lot of fun, and she thoroughly enjoyed hanging out with you and EOD and Amagad when I was off gallivanting around pretending to be useful to other people. So I really appreciate it, man.
No, it was good because the early debates, like I've seen them debated many times, even though it would have been nice to see Jake in real time. But I was like, I've seen secular humanism versus Christianity so many times. And then your wife was like, oh, I'm not doing anything. I was like, all right, we're hanging out. So we just hung out.
She's probably more fun than me. Like, she's actually very funny. I enjoy hanging out with her, that's for sure. Now, I couldn't get into whose debate was it I wanted to see. I didn't have a VIP pass. So I was I was a bum.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like they're like, get out of here, bum. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a story I wanted to tell about that. Because you were talking about Jim Bob and his wife earlier. And he does, I don't even think he knows this was funny. Like, Gibbs at the Nashville bar, the downtown one. He came up to me. He's like fixing my hair or something at the moment. He's like, hey, he's like, let's try to get you a girl to talk to or something. And I was like, he's like, you're skinny, you can get anybody. And I was like, it doesn't really work like that, but okay. And he looks over to his right, and there's a girl there, and I already know who this girl is. And this is how it's going to play out. And he goes, here, let me go talk to her real fast and bring her over. And I already know it's Jim Bob's wife or his girlfriend. I didn't know it was his wife at the time. And so he walks like 5 steps, talks to her for a second, and she's like, oh, I'm here with my husband. Oh, and he goes, I can overhear him. Oh, who's my husband? Or who's your husband? He goes, oh, Jim Bob over there. He's like, oh, really? And then so he just goes and walks up there to talk to Jim Bob.
That is great. Yeah, there was, dude, it's so funny because like to put a name to people's faces was interesting, and then see like who knows each other or who was married to who. It was very interesting. There was a lot of that going on there as well. But I met Jim Bob and his wife at I didn't meet them at the same time. Here's what happened. I was in the hotel that they were staying in the night before DebateCon, and I came out and saw Jim Bob, went up and shook his hand, and his wife, I didn't know was with him. She was talking to the front desk. So I just thought Jim Bob was waiting in line behind, a lady that wasn't connected to DebateCon. So I was like, well, I got to run out real quick. I had to make a phone call. And I come in, and then they're heading upstairs, and I was like, well, shit, was that Jim Bob's wife? And everyone's like, yeah. It's like, I look like a complete asshole. Like, I just ignored her and walked by. I was like, that was not my intent. I literally didn't know they were together. But no, she was very nice. Both Jim Bob and his wife, and amazing people. And it was my pleasure to spend time with them. And like I said, I wish I would have got to see his debate, but I didn't have the VIP pass. Womp womp. So,
But yeah, and then I don't know if you remember on the last night of the Nashville, or that I was there on Saturday night, whenever you got in the cab, I was going to say bye to you on the way out, and I just came up to your cab, and I was like, hey, Rob, I'm a big fan, just trying to act all
I do remember. I had that big ass cigar. I forget who gave me that cigar. That I don't remember.
Oh.
And I remember being like,
Avarice, wasn't?
Was it Avarice? Well, don't tell Avarice this. I'm sure he'll hear this, but that went right onto the sort of kitchen table there, and then I brought it back, and I kept it downstairs. But that will never be smoked by me. I'll tell you that. I'm the worst when it comes to smoking. So I was like, well, it's very nice, but I still walked around like a tough guy holding it. So that was nice. But can I tell you about Jim Bob's shoulders? They're amazing. See, what happens is the camera adds a slimming effect. I think he uses a filter. Jim Bob's had the broadest shoulders there. He just kept bumping into everyone. Excuse me. I was like, oh man. So yeah, very nice shoulders Jim Bob has. So,
but yeah, I was behind on the stream by about 20 minutes. But you're talking about COVID, so I wanted to call in, and it reminded me of Tom talking about the wet market being the origin of the virus, and I wanted to go off on that, but I wanted to bring up some other points that are just like was baffling as in real time. So it's not like Monday morning quarterback of like what went wrong. It's like, so if I told you a new virus was coming out this year and it's going to be, if I just gave you it was influenza, how would you know that it would infect people? You would know the transmission route, right? Like it wouldn't just surprisingly change of how influenza changed. Everybody already knows how corona infects
correct.
People. And so you already knew it was a respiratory virus, and then the WHO was sitting there spreading the Chinese propaganda of like, oh, it's not human to human transmission. There's not just it's just that we're passing this animal along to 1 million people, and it's infecting them individually. So
yeah, it was surreal, and
like
people
that are all over the place.
People forget, and listen, it's no small lie. Like take any sort of, I don't mean this in a negative way, but any conspiracy theory about sort of the virus coming from a lab, right? So like the idea that it was intentionally done as a weapon or it was being made as a weapon and then leaked, forget about all that. Let's just say this, right? If that was developed in a lab, think of the stages we could have had of like being further ahead early to know exactly what we were looking at if they would have been honest about it, right? So, for example, like the exact way that they had messed with the virus, etc., could have been utilized to be like, oh, well, now we know more about this virus and what to expect from it. And, obviously you're not going to have it down to a T, but you have a far better idea. So the fact that there were scientists in our country that willfully lied, and that's what it was. Peter Daszak in Nature magazine.
Christian Anderson.
Yeah, all of these people, they rely on funding from the government for gain of function. So they all had skin in the game. And they were like, well, it couldn't have been that. Could it came from this lab? Nope. The type of stuff we do couldn't do this. And so you all have to take our word. And everyone did. So much to the point that social media was censoring people saying that it could have came from a lab. Now, I don't, my understanding is there's still some discrepancy from intel communities, but at this point, the majority of the best available evidence that our intel communities came up with suggests that it most likely came from that lab, correct?
Yeah, it's laughable that it wouldn't come from that lab.
Of course, even before they said that was the case.
As soon as you saw how infectious it was, you knew it came from the lab, because it's for a zoonotic virus. So a virus to jump from like some other animal reservoir to us. Basically, the molecular mechanisms that it all has, like all the protein folding that'll try to attach to your cells and replicate, they all suck because they're not made to be in you. They're made to be in whatever animal it evolved from, right? Mm-hmm. And so whenever it hops, it's terrible. Like usually it kills you really fast because it's not that good at infecting you. It'll just like mess up your insides and kill you. That's why the mortality rate is high and the transmission rate is low on something that hops human to human. And so whenever it hopped to us, probably by the lab, about a 99.99% chance, it is immediately as infectious as the flu, which has been with us for a long ass fucking time. And then it became the most infectious virus that we've known to humankind. So for that to happen it's not even possible for it to come from an animal to us. It was like they did serial passaging, or they just printed it out essentially, because you can print out viruses if you wanted to right now. So, and
the other thing that's just so funny is like, let's assume that wasn't the case. Let's assume that there's this very lengthy explanation as to why it most likely came from like a wet market. Well, two things, right? One, and I make this joke all the time, but it's absolutely true. We were told to even suggest that it came from a lab in China that was partially funded through Anthony Fauci and NIH was racism against Chinese people. Instead, the non-racist position was backwards ass Chinese people bite the heads off of bats at wet markets. That was, it never, like, even that, you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? How is my position racist towards China? Your argument is they're basically fucking Neanderthals. Like, that was the first thing that's hilarious. And then the other point is, like, they want you to ignore the absolute insane coincidence that this happens right at the location where there happens to be a lab working on these exact types of things.
Under 5
and so, like, if it was me, like, let's say I'm Fauci, and I'm like, okay, we think that most likely it didn't come from the lab, right? But, I mean, my goodness, this looks so bad. I would have went on national television and been like, look, this is a coincidence to end all coincidences. And so we're going to keep diligently working to make sure. And we absolutely understand that people want to discuss like why this maybe came from a lab, why it maybe came from a wet market. And those are discussions that need to occur. I wouldn't be pressuring social media companies to censor the idea that it could have came from a lab. That's not what I would have done. And so everything about it, it's like, they protest too much. Like, how dare you? Oh my gosh, only a rube would think that that this weaponized COVID came from a weaponized coronavirus lab. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, that's clearly something that's within reason. And they just wrote it off. Like, they were 100%. My argument was always, look, I can't claim 100% of the way either way, but I think it's more likely it came to the lab, both through circumstantial, and I was reading, like, the Furon cleavage site and all this shit that I was reading about. And yet, my opponents were 100% arguing, We are absolutely 100% definitively sure. There was this guy, Sonsol, that I remember debating at the time. And he said that that it was debunked, that the lab leak theory was debunked. Now, to me, debunked means completely dispelled, proven to be 100% infactual. That's what debunked means, right? He said that if it came out that that wasn't debunked, he said this on camera, that he would take something, a sex toy, and he would on cam shove it up his rectum. That was his argument. Now, I, of course, don't want to see that and wouldn't hold him to it. But when I brought out, like, how could you say this is debunked? Now the CIA says it most likely came from a lab. Fuck you, you piece of shit. You're a bad father, blah, blah, blah. Blocks me. There you have it. That's just, and I want to keep going back to this, right? This all things COVID, right? You should, before you want to infringe on people, you should make sure that you're almost positively correct, right? So before I say, you know what, I think people should be censored online from saying X, I better be damn sure that X is wrong, right? If even then, if even there, we should promote the censorship. Before you say, I think people should be forced to take this vaccine, you better be damn sure that that vaccine doesn't have significant side effects and that it's absolutely necessary. Before you say people should be locked down, you better be damn sure that that's the right answer. And these people were not even remotely sure. In fact, they were less knowledgeable than the average person. The more zealous that a person was to demand lockdowns, to demand vaccine mandates, to demand people shut up that were talking about a lab leak, the less they knew than the average person I talked to. It's surreal. You remember I debated that guy? Oh shit, what was his name? This was only a year or so ago. He seemed like a decent guy, to be honest. I can't think of his name right now. Elder Drazi, right? And he built it. No one read more about COVID than him. It was embarrassing. He got embarrassed. He didn't know anything. I literally, like, halfway through that debate, I was like, I feel terrible. I feel terrible that you're this bad. And he just said nothing. He just sat there quiet, like, the majority of the time, just knowing he was getting his ass kicked. He's even admitted afterwards, like, yeah. And he said no one's read more than him and knew nothing. I could have brought up any person in my chat that would have crushed this dude in a debate that knew more about it. And it's just like, I can't get over that. And I the only answer I could come up with is that these people are just looking for an excuse to be an authoritarian. It's just like, yeah, we want to do that to you. Fuck you. And here it is. Here's the excuse to do it, you know?
Yeah, and I can go down the rabbit hole of how many crazy things you could bring up of how it doesn't make any sense. Like, where's the reservoir, the animal reservoir? They still haven't found it, even though all the onus is on them, of them wanting to find it. Be like China, it wasn't on them. But I think the bigger one is in the future of, we just had, 99.999% likelihood that a major political player released basically a bioweapon across the planet and no repercussions, zero.
None. In fact, one of the first things Biden did in his term, if you remember, he came in, there was a task force that Trump had started to see if the virus came from China. He eliminated that task force. And then, remember, there was, like, I think it was in Alaska. Shit, my memory's not what it used to be. But I think they had this big hearing in Alaska. And right out of the gate, China was there. It was like the bilateral meeting. And they basically just kissed China's ass. Nothing about the virus. And I was like, well, there you go. They got away with it. And why wouldn't they? Because the implication, if let's say that China did that, right? Now, if you're China, the world's going to be pissed, right? But what's the United States going to say? Because China's going to be like, look, here's the deal. Yeah, the United States funded this. Now what? So yeah, it was made in a Chinese lab with Chinese scientists, but the United States was knowingly funding it. Now what? Now where are we? So of course the United States is going to be like, yeah, we don't think that came from a lab. Because they're implicated. I mean, and I'm told that I'm a racist for, like, bringing this up. And it's like, they pardoned Fauci. I mean, get the fuck out of here. You can't see what's going on here. And it's surreal. Like, the way they play with language. Like, and say what you will about Rand Paul. I happen to like Rand Paul. He dog-walked Fauci every time they talked.
It was hilarious.
Like, basically the argument, for those that don't know, like, Fauci dead to rights lying. Oh, no, we didn't fund gain of functioning. We didn't do that. Well, then it turns out they did exactly that. And basically Fauci's argument's like, well, I didn't lie because when I use the term gain of function, I mean this hyper-specific thing that's technically different. And you're just like, fuck you. Like, imagine if there were 10 people most responsible for this virus in the world, we took one of those 10 and put him completely in charge of our policies regarding
the
the
ultimate
pandemic.
inside job.
I mean, it's surreal. It's like if there was a big heist and they stole the gold out of Fort Knox, and you just happened to appoint the lead investigator, the guy who led the heist. Like, that's what happened. And there's no way that they didn't know. They knew. And it's just like, no one gives a shit, right? Because, one thing that's true, and it's one of the reasons I was so excited for RFK, is there's such big money in pharma. They're donating to both sides of the aisle and pretty much everyone. No one wants to blow the whistle on this shit. There's huge fucking dollars, government dollars in the United States and across the world that go into all of this research, development, etc. So no one really wants to frighten the shit out of every citizen in the world to be like, you know what? Maybe we're going way too far with this fucking pharmaceutical shit and with this gain of function and these other types of shit. Maybe we need a lot of scrutiny on where these tax dollars are going. They don't want that. So everybody just keeps their fucking mouth shut. Whatever. Here's the virus. Here's the transfer of wealth from the poor and working class to the fucking upper class. Now shut up, you plebes. We've moved on. What about Ukraine? That's what happened. We went right from the pandemic to Ukraine. By the way, how's that working out? It's so fucking laughable. It's just like, man. And it's a disappointment because you'd like to see Trump's team break through. There was a moment where with the appointment of RFK, you're like, yeah, maybe they'll let this fucking guy run wild. And, all of a sudden we'll start to get some accountability. But that moment's gone. That ain't coming, so.
Yeah, it's dark. The one that doesn't get brought up on the gain of function before even way before this even happened, maybe 8 years or something. I think it was Barrick at UNC. He had a paper that was about to come out where he made bird flu more infectious. Bird flu is like a version of influenza. It gets hyper or big mortality rate. And
it's worse. Yep.
Yeah, his method. He was about to publish everything, even the sequence of the virus. And the government stepped in at the time. I think it was the Obama one. That's when I think this is what caused the lockdown on gain of function for a while, is he was about to publish the sequence. And you're like, the Obama's team stepped in, or whatever administration stepped in and was like, do not fucking do that. You're an idiot if you do that. And let alone, why did you do this in the first place? But printing out the sequence for everybody to give. And
there you go, Al-Qaeda.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So anyways, I could go on for this. So
I'll just finish with it. In all honesty, maybe you disagree with me on this, but I think when we talk about WMDs and what sort of weapon is most likely to have insane, devastating consequences, I think biological more than chemical and nuclear, because it's easier to get your hands on the material and monkey with it, and it sort of does its work for you, right? A nuclear weapon, a chemical weapon have to be deployed sort of strategically for mass casualty. A biological weapon could be deployed and it basically does its thing on its own.
It is easier, but you almost have to ride a fine line, because if you get too high on the mortality rate, people will lock down themselves because they'll get scared. Like when Ebola shows up, people are like, fuck, I'm not going out because this will kill me. But COVID, it was right on the edge where it's just higher than normal, but people, for the most part, were going to be fine. So,
what's the name of the guy who did the big study, the Imperial College guy? Shit, I'm forgetting his name now. But this guy's been doom and gloom guy forever. It'll come to me by the end of the show. But the Imperial College model is basically the model that the UK officially used and the United States sort of didn't officially say, but it was the model they are looking at to justify the lockdowns. And it was talking about deaths and what they called, you remember this? The do nothing scenario, right? And what that means is literally that.
Yeah,
right? Not just the government does nothing, but that literally means, imagine that me and you are hey, let's catch a fucking ball game. We're both going to be in Chicago in April. Let's go to a Cubs game, right? And then all of a sudden we see bodies piling up in the street and we're like, anyways, the Cubs. Right? That's the do nothing scenario. And it was even as a layman, you're looking at that, you're like, that's absurd. If this amount of people stop dying, even without government mandate, people are going to change their behavior. You're not just going to watch your friends die and be like, anyways, still got work today. That's not how it works. And they use this model seriously. Neil Ferguson, that was his name. And then it turned out Mr. Ferguson I'm not making this up. I could bring up the article. It's totally true. Ferguson, Mr. Gloom and Doom COVID himself, that was, pushing all these lockdowns, violated lockdown orders in the United K to go fuck his mistress, whose husband had COVID. So he's literally in a house. This dude's sick with COVID, banging the dude's wife. It's just like, oh my fucking God. Like, people can't realize this is a scam. Because if it was like leprosy, if it was really a disease that the experts were like, oh, fuck, this is horrible, then they're not going to be doing those things themselves, right?
Yeah.
They'd be like, dude, you'll know, because those people be boarding up their windows like, fuck you people, good luck. Like, that's how they would be, right? They're not going to be like, yeah, all of you need to lock down. Anyways, I'm going out for dinner tonight. And
Like the movie Contagion.
Exactly. That's right. Morgan Freeman wasn't running around. He was in that, right? He was. What's the one he
Morpheus.
was in? Like,
it was. What's his?
Oh, Fishburne.
Fishburne. Yeah.
Okay. Uh-oh. Now I'm gonna get called a racist. So, well, GG, it's been a pleasure as always, but I gotta go yell at some more people. Not really yell, but thanks so much, GG. We'll talk soon, man.
All right, appreciate it. See you.
Yep. A blast from the past, COVID talk there. Good stuff. Now, I saw our friend, let me read a super chat here. A level 4 lobster. It's been a while. Busy season for me. Where do I get the merch? We'll get it. I sent an email today. But I hope you're still watching Level 4 Lobster. If I got something for you, I did something. On my way back from Nashville, I stopped, oh shit, I forget what town it was, but I believe it was in Kentucky. And do you know what I did? Look at that. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. I made my first trip to a Buc-ee's just for Level 4 Lobster. And just in case you're wondering if I went in, yes, there's the sodas that I was buying. So there you are, Lobster. Buc-ee's for the win. I thought it was amazing. It was a crazy store. The scope of it is so far beyond, like when I talk about Sheetz or Wawa's, it's absolutely insane. However, and I have good things to say. Look, Lobster's sick to his stomach. I will say, though, my wife went in. My man Hank was sleeping, so I stayed in the car with him, got gas. My wife and her parents went in. She bought me a breakfast sandwich and some beef jerky. But I wanted to get a drink. From the door I walked in, I shit you not, it was like a quarter of a mile to the beverages. And I literally was just walking in for a beverage. And that was Lobster's actual criticism. It was like, dude, you're like trucking, you're just stopping in to get gas and a beverage, maybe use the restroom, and you have to walk like a mile. Like through all this bullshit, which wasn't bullshit. It seemed interesting, but I had to walk through the merch store and, the little dessert factory they have going on in the center there and the beef jerky section. And then, so there you go. Naughty Germ, $5 says code phrase accepted, beep boop. Norge, support, sent. Thank you. And King Blackout, member for 3 months, says, appreciate you and everything you do, Rob. Thank you. Appreciate all of you. All right, got to get to the calls. Ashton Chrysco Avarice next. Then we got Adam, Creeper, and Miggy. I don't know if I'll get to everyone. I'm going to try. We only got about 45 minutes. Ashton, what's up, my friend?
How you doing, Rob? It's been a while.
It has been a little while. How's it been?
No, it's been busy, man. I took a week off work for PTO to spend with the kiddos and
nice.
Kind of just decompress before the busiest season of our store, and don't want to go back to work tomorrow.
It's the worst when you take time off. It always feels like going back. It's like I got 3 times more to do when I get back. It sucks.
Yeah. Well, my manager texted me the other day. She's like, I can't wait for you to come back. It's been so busy. I'm like, I'm on vacation.
Yeah. Hell, even me, man, just coming back doing this stuff as a primary job. I'm like, what's happening in the news cycle? I haven't been paying attention for like 5 days. It's weird how if you don't watch for a few days, it's like you're sort of lost. It's like, I had a vague notion, but yeah, interesting.
Yeah. I have a family member of mine, my godmother. She actually works for the Department of Virology in Penn State, for Penn State campus.
Oh, okay. Right here in PA.
So I do have a little bit of like insider info for the virology and the compounds and stuff for the vid. when everything was going on, I got COVID one time. The first thing she told me to do was to go get a anabolic treatment. Monoclonal antibiotic treatment. I can't say the word. It's like a 5-letter word or $5 word that's like this long. They called it the MAB treatment whenever it first started with COVID. It kind of helped reduce your symptoms, reduce everything. And when they came out with the mRNA vaccine, I asked her, I said, hey, do you think this is something that I should do? Because like, I trust your judgment. This is kind of what you spent 8 years of your life in school for. What do you recommend? She goes, don't even do it. She goes, there's not enough research on it. She goes, there's not enough actual studies and testing done for it. It's still within the very early stages of it. She goes, do not get it. You are safer without it.
Mm.
So,
well, see,
that jab.
But my thing was always this, and if anybody's looking at me for medical advice, some fat fuck that needs to lose weight, they're making a huge mistake right out of the gate. So I wasn't in the business of my thing was always this, like any sort of medication. First off, I completely supported people's right to take the medication if they want it. I'm fine with that. I just, you want the people that are giving the medication to be as transparent as possible. My assumption was this, and it's just my assumption. My assumption was, and this is at the beginning of the vaccine, was like most medications, it probably makes sense for one group of people and not for others. In other words, all medications have side effect. Tylenol has side effect. Well, now we hear a lot about it, but NyQuil could have side effects, right? So should you take NyQuil? Well, you probably shouldn't take NyQuil if you don't have a cold, right? If you're not trying to sleep. It doesn't make sense just to drink it as a beverage. No, I guess unless you're trying to get really high or something, but
I was say some rappers would disagree.
The lean. We ain't talking about lean here, right?
With some NyQuil and some Robitussin, and we be tripping over here.
Yes, I'm aware of what the rappers get up to, but you see the point, right? So for me, it was like, well, you look at the people that COVID was seriously a threat to. Now, I haven't checked recently, but as of like 2 years ago, the average age of death of COVID was slightly beyond the average life expectancy in the United States. So it was like the average age of a COVID death was like 77 and like life expectancy is like 77. So it really was a disease for people with significant comorbidities and the very old. This was who was most negatively affected. And so if you're 75 and you have COPD, did it make sense to get this vaccine? It probably did. But if you're 23 and a woman and healthy, and there's possible side effects like with your reproductive system, or there's side effects that it could cause for anyone that's young and healthy that's taking this, well, what's your risk level? And that's what I was trying to focus on when I'm looking at the vaccine mandates. And that's why I was crushing everyone in these debates. Because the conclusions that places like CDC would offer is they just give a baseline conclusion and assume that 95% of the people aren't going to read the actual data. And so the baseline conclusion is just something like, yeah, everybody should get the vaccine. Of course. Yeah. Right. But when you looked at the data at the time that the mandates were being talked about, CDC did basically two control groups that they looked at. One was in New York and one was in LA, right? And they looked at millions of people. And they isolated the group into basically 4 categories. And that was people that weren't vaccinated who had a prior case of COVID, and people that weren't vaccinated and never had a prior case. And the people that were vaccinated and had a prior case, and people that were vaccinated and didn't have a prior case. And the evidence was pretty striking. For me, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe I was the only person, I'm still the only person in the country I heard talk about this, that the effects you got if you had a prior case of COVID from taking the vaccine is almost zero. It did almost nothing. It didn't prevent you from, in fact, within the margin of error, it increased your chances ever so slightly to be hospitalized with COVID. It slightly decreased your chances to get an asymptomatic or small symptom case of COVID. And so there's basically no effect. And then you go over and you look at the side effects, and a litany of most of the side effects I admit are sort of what we would consider bullshit. Soreness of arm, a mild cough or something. And you can say, well, you get over those, but you're getting no benefit. You're not just drinking NyQuil for no reason. Similar, you're not jabbing yourself in the arm for something that's giving you basically no benefit, right? But then there were serious side effects. Anaphylaxis. your chance of getting anaphylaxis from the vaccine, according to like official sites back then in 2022, official studies that they did, very small chance, less than 1%. And yet it was 10 times higher than being hospitalized with COVID if you had a previous case of COVID. And so the question is, how can we force that population, just that one population, people that previously had a COVID infection, how can you force them to take a vaccine that legitimately has a better chance of harming them than helping them?
Yeah.
And
well, I mean,
there was never an answer. It was just, well, it's just simpler to tell everyone to take it. And that's the bullshit that I was talking about, you know?
Well, look at the study that Stephen Crowder did with the doctor from the UK, that they were finding those almost synthetic-like materials that are building up in people's bloods, causing blood clots and myocarditis on healthy middle-aged men. You know, there was, I believe, they did the study on over 1,000 people that had passed away with COVID, and they had found these actual, like when they're doing the phlebotomy of the patient to drain them and everything else to get them prepped for the funeral, they're finding these masses in the bloodstream with it that are this big and this round within your veins and your arteries and everything else. So you're telling me that I should take this shot because it will help prevent me from having a cough, but I could possibly die from it because of a blood clot.
Yeah, it's just
I'll take my chances with the cold.
none of it made sense. Like they were doing shit like even with like athletes, like Kyrie. Yeah. I'm not a big basketball fan, but Kyrie Irving, they were like, yeah, you can't play in the NBA because like he wouldn't get the vaccine, and it's like, or no, Djokovic was the tennis player, and it's like these are amongst the healthiest people in the world. These are like professional athletes, and we're not talking like a lineman in football that's like 300 pounds. We're talking physically fit people that are running up and down a court or running across a tennis court, right? And it's like you're telling these dudes that are like almost no risk whatsoever. For them to get it would be no different than them getting like strep throat or something. It's like, you'll be out of commission 3 days. Now, I'm not saying there weren't exemptions, of course, but the problem is the people will use those exemptions. Well, here's a young, healthy 23-year-old that died of COVID. It's like, okay, here's one that died of the flu. We shutting the country down over the flu? Of course not.
Well, I mean, look at the mortality rates of the flu in that year. If you break down the actual statistical studies from influenza type A and influenza type B, at the same time that COVID was going on, influenza was killing more people than COVID. Have we ever shut down the country?
Maybe. But remember, influenza almost disappeared.
Yeah,
which was ironic. Because a lot of people were being diagnosed with COVID that probably had influenza. That's what happened.
Exactly.
And so how many, and then also keep in mind that many of those death statistics for COVID were not people that died from it. They were people that had it when they died. Yeah. So it's like, you know, you get shot while you had COVID. It's COVID death. You're on a motorcycle wreck. It's COVID death. And like, I argued this with people. It's like that motorcycle one legitimately happened. And I remember debating someone. They were like, well, how do you know he wasn't coughing because he had COVID? And that's what caused him. And you're just like, there's no getting to you, you fucking moron. Like, I don't know what to talk to you about. In fact, I'll let you go after this, but this is a true story. In Pennsylvania, this would have been, let's see, that video I showed earlier was June 20th. My guess is the beginning of June, maybe the end of May, 2020. I had a radio show at the time, and we brought on, I also broadcasted to my channel though, we brought on a coroner in, I believe, Center County. I could be wrong about the county, but here in Pennsylvania. Now, at this time, there were the deaths were in the thousands officially in Pennsylvania. Yeah. And one day, the deaths went up by not one day, over 1 week they started to spike a little. Now, this coroner in this small county, right? He would be in charge of signing the death certificate, the cause of death and all of this in this county. And to his shock, he woke up one day and saw the official Pennsylvania statistics, and it was something like 14 COVID deaths. He's like, I haven't declared one. Where did this number come from? He picks up the phone. He calls some other local coroners. Now, not the ones in Philly, not the ones in Pittsburgh, but a bunch of people in the center of Pennsylvania. These coroners were like, yeah, we declared one, but they have us written down for 9. Yeah, we declared 2, but they have us down for like 37, right? And so they all got together and they contacted Tom Wolf and, Health Secretary Levine. And basically their argument was like, oh, our bad, we made an error. And they took off. And at that point, it was like literally a quarter of the COVID deaths in Pennsylvania had to be taken away. Now, granted, this was early, but...
In my county here in Blair County, our coroner literally came out on public on WTAJ, our local broadcasting and news station, and said she did not write these deaths. These were not her signature, and she wanted answers on why that her office was being put to do this, because there was no indications of those deaths being liable for the COVID. So it's
basically Wolf's administration's answer was like, well, it was like this big sleight of hand, like talk fast moment. It was like, well, what happened was a misunderstanding of the data that they sent over, and there were symptoms that could have been associated with COVID, and we accidentally put those as COVID deaths, even though the person wasn't actually officially declared dead of COVID. Anyways, now on to the red, yellow, green, right? It was like something that fast that they just covered it like, and it's like, no. Even that clip I showed you earlier from Levine when my friend Todd Bartley asked her, like, look, the lockdown orders say you can't be, this county's yellow. By the way, the mistake I made, I think Dauphin County's outside Philadelphia, not in Harrisburg. Nonetheless.
No, Dolphin's in Harrisburg, you're right.
Oh, it's Harrisburg? Okay. Anyways, it was like Dauphin's still yellow. That means you can't have more than 200 people at a gathering. Tom Wolf said a gathering right now with over 200 people. And she's like, well, we've never been against people's right to protest because that's important. So clearly we support that and other things. You in the back, you have a question. Wait. Show me in his executive order where it says anything about we are exempt for this if you're protesting. Because if that's the case, I'm doing a little protest when I go to work. I'm doing a little protest when I go to church, when I go to the nursing home. That's my protest. How about that? Of course not. It didn't say that. It's bullshit for the low IQ people. And my friend Todd Bartley, who's a great man, he's like a legit journalist. Todd's press pass is because he worked for Fox Sports Net. He's a sports journalist. And he's like, I find myself in this room where I have a press pass. I get to go talk to the governor and the governor's team. Every official journalist there, an ass-kissing sycophant. No one asking hard questions. Just Todd. And Todd's like, wait a minute, you said this. Next question. And he's like, he became persona non grata. They were like, get this fucking guy out of the room. Doesn't he know the mission? You're not supposed to. Do you want grandma to die? Shut the fuck up. Shut this guy up. That's what it became.
Just like Biden, he had to have the scripts of the questions before he got that questions asked, because God forbid he couldn't answer them without knowing what they actually were. You know, and my brother-in-law, his dad went to the hospital for a mild stomach bug. 3 days later was dead because they had to put him on a ventilator because he contracted COVID within the hospital, and he couldn't even go see his dad at all. He died alone.
Ventilators killed so many people, man. Yeah. Fucking brutal. Yeah. And we were told that was the answer, remember? Trump didn't have enough ventilators sent. Remember that shit? Oh my goodness. Yeah, the ventilators.
Didn't have enough ventilators, yet he mass produced enough ventilators for the fucking other countries overseas to have them with all the PPE that we had to stockpile because of the other countries, but yet we were the bad guys.
And he said that they made that medical ship, remember, that sent it to New York that never saw one patient, but we were told the hospitals were about to be overran and all this bullshit. I talked to so many people, they would be like, well, we had to do this. We had to put the COVID patients in nursing homes because hospitals are being overran. It's like, actually, the data doesn't show that. Well, some individuals were. Some individuals. Yeah, but you could say that in any time, right? There are hospitals right now that are probably above what the capacity they're comfortable. I remember I asked someone, it may have been Destiny, I asked him, I said, because he was making the argument that if you weren't vaccinated, the hospital should turn you away for any sort of treatment. We need to reserve the beds. And I said, what capacity do they need to be at before that would occur? And he was like 80. I'm like, that's normal. That's a normal capacity for a hospital. You're literally saying that hospitals, you're unvaccinated and you just got stabbed. You got yourself with your nail gun at work. Hit the fucking bricks, plebe. I mean, it's surreal, the monsters that they became. They couldn't wait to fucking flex their authority. And now they'll fucking piss their pants, though, when Trump puts out a mean tweet. Oh, my goodness, no. And these motherfuckers, they wonder why someone like me doesn't take them seriously. You fuckers wanted to, end our way of life because we didn't. I mean, the polls was crazy. You remember? I'll never forget the one that was, basically, what was it, 24% of Democrats, 22, something like that, some crazy number, 28 maybe. Said that if you weren't vaccinated, your children should be removed from your home by the government. 50% said something to the effect of you should be put in a camp. Yeah. And they had no evidence.
Look at Australia. They made camps.
And these were the same people. Bad. By the way, the same fucking people that when Trump was like, there's a vaccine coming, were like, no fucking way I'll ever take that. Nope. And then the moment that Biden won and was like, okay, the vaccine's good now, they all said, yes, of course, Daddy, we'll take the vaccine. And everyone should be put in camps and their children taken away from them if they don't. You just told us a month ago you would never take it. Well, now it's different. Biden's there. I trust Biden. Like, oh my gosh. It's surreal. And the difference is, anyone who's listening, here's the difference. All right, here's the difference. You'd say, but Rob, you have bias. That's true. I do. But I wasn't trying to force any needle in your arm. I wasn't trying to force you to be locked down, was I? No. I said, make your own fucking decision. You know? So. All right, Ashton. Did I lose you?
No. I'm still here. I wanted to cam down because my daughter tried to run towards my camera.
So, all right. Well, hey, man, I'm going to bring up some more people, but it's always a pleasure, man.
Always, man. Peace and love, brother. Peace and love.
See ya. Adam Goldberg in the back said, Adam here, I have to go pick up someone, so I'll just leave what I have to say here. Rob, I genuinely appreciate the way you try to bring honesty and clarity to tough issues. I know you don't support Israel. Excuse me. But I do think your position on Israel is playing into the hands of Qatar and other regional actors who are benefiting from amplifying division in the United States, particularly with the uplifting of someone like Nick Fuentes. That's it. Have a good day. Fair point. Look, I don't think that I'm necessarily uplifting Nick Fuentes. I think my point is the problem's back home, that I was willing to stop infighting on people that at least recognize that there are lefties that want us dead, right? And I just want to be done with foreign policy because I think that hyper-focus is to the detriment of the people in the United States, and we should focus back here. I think that there are probably arguments that are true that Israel went too far in their conflict with Palestine. However, if it was my family that was attacked on October 7th and taken hostage, I would say they didn't go far enough. That would be how I looked at the situation. So, but thank you so much for the kind words. Now, we got Chrysco up next. We're going to get him in, but we need to get that dono bar to at least 50%. Mucho quick. We got about 25 minutes left to go in the show. So what can I do to yell at you people to get the donos up? You know what I haven't done in a while? Hey, yeah. Hey, can you do me a solid real quick? Yeah, you know what to do. Okay. I got a special guest here. He wanted to say something. You see, all of you that aren't donating, now you have to be punished. Sir, you had something you wanted to say?
Tariff.
Unfortunately, that's what it's come to. You've been tariffed. So, yeah. Get those super chats in. We much appreciate it here. Me and the whole team. 53 will get us to 50%. Yeah. There we go. And then we could yell at people to get to 100%. You'll donate if Bernie Sanders endorses me. What's that? I got a call? There's a call coming in. Go ahead, sir. You had something you wanted to say?
Hello, it is me, Bernie Sanders. I am once again asking you to donate money to Normal America with Robert Noerr. The oligarchy must be defeated. The only millionaires and billionaires that are acceptable are me and Normal America with Robert Noerr. Once more, we ask you to donate money so that Robert, much like me, never has to work a real job. Help me in defeating the oligarchy. Donate to Normal America with Rob Noerr. And I will go buy a new pair of mittens in my third lake house, which is modest, and fly on my private plane, which I have to do. Donate Normal America.
Level 4 lobster. What are the chances that I could have two senators call into the show at once? That's just not possible. So apologies. That's just how it's got to be. Also, I'm sorry. Someone's calling in.
I'd like to take a moment out of fulfilling the biblical prophecy to bomb Iran and tell you all about another biblical prophecy, and that is that the nation of Normal America with Rob Noerr, you need to send them your money. The Old Testament somewhere, I believe, says that you will be blessed. You will be blessed if you send Normal America with Rob Noerr your money. I was taught that from a young age by my father, who was the Zodiac Killer. He was a great man. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go to Cancun and plan to get away from all you anti-Semites. I'm playing for the more bombing of Iran and Israel. Israel's just the best. Israel and North America with Rob Noah. Please send all your money there. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. What are the chances? All these senators. Look at this. It worked. The senators yelling at you. JS, what's up, my friend? $10 says, do not tariff this. No tariff. It was a pleasure to meet you there and talk to you last night as well, too. So thanks. Look at this absolute chat. AJC, $53. Says, I'll carry it to 50%. Thank you, my friend. Unbelievable. And then we got Reverse Massage. $5 says, for the new casters. Chair. Does need new casters. Yeah. And then Level 4 Lobster. $5 says, money well spent. I'll put that $5 into a Buc-ee's gift card. Chrysco, what's up today, man? How you doing?
Hello, am I coming in?
You're in.
All right, perfect. So I know you're talking about COVID, so I think the most important thing we all have to remember is what's a big thing in Canada that happened during COVID? So what does that have to do with COVID? We have to remember that there was a couple of Chinese spies in a lab in Winnipeg, a virology lab, which did studies on related viruses. And what's important about that is that they were sending these samples back to China. And not only were they sending it back to China, there's evidence that it went to the same lab, or at least information has gone to the lab. So there's like ties that potentially that this could have happened. Also, COVID could have also partially happened from the Canadian lab. So not only is this was such a big scandal, the government almost collapsed. They prorogued Parliament. So basically, they didn't dismiss Parliament, but they basically sent Parliament away on break for months on end. And we basically had no representation in Canada for months. We've just gotten our first government budget in a year and change, or almost 2 years. It's been a long time since we've had a government budget. The last one almost collapsed the government too, because they basically didn't want to come out and say it, and people were like, yeah, nope, don't want to come out and face the music. But basically, Canada had a big influence on COVID being produced potentially.
Yeah.
And now these Chinese.
You're absolutely right. There was also, it was through academia in the United States as well. There were people that got arrested for spying for China, but you're absolutely right that it happened in Canada. And I think, let's see if you would agree with this point, right? When I'm saying it's no surprise that there hasn't been any accountability, because there was incentives for certain countries to not want a hyper focus on the origins of this because they're implicated. And as such, do you think the Canadian government's vested in really getting to the bottom of it if they know, wait a minute, there's going to be politicians that were getting kickbacks and all this shit that was going on up there as well? Of course not. And who's to say that doesn't occur in other countries, like European countries? So if everyone's in positions of leadership, not everyone, but if huge swaths of people in positions of leadership in the Western world were at least tangentially involved, why would they want accountability when they know they'll be the ones that the people will want accountability from?
Absolutely. And that's just this was a scandal that was going on for months. And when the government was prorogued, it was still something that to be talked about for months and months on end. And basically went away simply because of the Canadian government at the time of the Trudeau government was just basically hey, we're just going to shut down Parliament and we're just going to basically pass laws through executive order, which is where it didn't happen during COVID. Oh my God. They're gun grabbing bills. So basically they're doing gun grabbing now, and they officially have started in Cape Breton, for instance. They're not going door to door, but it's a buyback of illegal guns that they made illegal through simply executive orders, to say. In Canada, it's orders in council, or OIC, basically just amending onto bills through the executive branch of the government, right? So it's absolutely insane. And then these people, and then they get elected again. And not only did they get elected again, they got elected again. It's the problem you see here is that like ignorance is bliss, and this ignorance is also a way to win.
Yeah.
Like, the reason we see like so many touchy-feely things is simply because, like, in the news and that, is simply because it's easy. It's digestible. It's like, if you want to make somebody angry about something, don't talk about the facts. Just talk about the feelings. Like, we have CBC crying about immigrants, and yet a majority of, like, they're crying like, oh, look at them. It's so hard for them here. But then it's like, the majority of Canadians want less immigration. Like,
Yep.
poll after poll after poll, they're saying it's too much. It's too much. And it's just like CBC's poll as article after article after article saying it's all so easy to just distract people. And it's just, that's what it all is. It's like the Canadian government, like the Trudeau government should have collapsed several times underneath what is basically like, we're not even talking about the trucker convoy here. We're talking simply OIC gun grabbing. We're talking about covering up Chinese spies and then refusing to make a foreign registry. So basically foreigners can just, lobby. It's not even like, it'd be like, there's no US equivalent, because in the US, if you're lobbying on behalf of a foreign government, you have to register. In Canada, there's no foreign lobby registry.
It's so crazy. It's like, and I think the point you're making, I have to let you go here, but the idea that they could just get away with it, right? And again, I'm not even talking criminally. I'm talking that there's no effective politician to stand up and be like, look what these fuckers did. There's no one that can actually force them to be held electively accountable. And it seems like no. It seems like the answer is everybody just got away with it. Like, who lost a position over this? Who was held criminally accountable? Who was held civilly accountable? Who was even held reputationally accountable? No one. It's surreal. And it's not just true in the United States, it's true in Canada as well. Chrysco, thank you so much, man. I got to run, but it's always a pleasure.
Yeah. Talk to you next time.
All right, we'll see you.
See you.
Yeah, we only need $140.53 to get us there. Old Joe, my friend, $10 says, I'm only donating on the condition that your second house is modest. It's modest. It is a modest second house. I'll be honest, I don't have a second house. I'm looking to get a shed to put my mower in, and technically, it looks like a little mini house, but it still will only be a shed, not a house. Nathan Myers, $5 says, saving my money for the TikTok invasion. Hope this helps. It certainly does help. And yes, Andrew Wilson doing an invasion 10 o'clock tonight? I don't know the exact time, but yes, I hope you all will tune into that. I'm sure it'll be great. One of these days, I'd like to call in to the TikToks as they're doing the invasion. Maybe it'll be tonight. We'll see what's going on here. I could join in the fun. Now, one step back, $5 says, beep, boop, tariff, beep. Insert human-like response. Thank you. All right, we're going to rush through these callers. We got like 2 minutes per caller. I'm so sorry. I do appreciate you all, but I spent too much time talking to people. Spent too much time talking to myself. The donos are going to get to the full $357. I know we're going to get there. Maggie, what's up, man? I only got a couple minutes. How have you been? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. Just been a little busy time. I wasn't feeling that great for the other day. I guess I had a really bad neck cramp or so. Not really sure what caused that.
That sucks, man.
But yeah, I do want to say when it came to like the right-wing coalition, this is one of our biggest weakness. We oftentimes always at odds with each other, and and especially for petty things like that, like we've seen as of recently. And I guess the Israel argument is important though, but like we're literally flashing ourselves and getting at each other's throats for the littlest things, or just trying to have some nuanced opinions. But I guess it's just to be expected because with the large coalition that we have now, it was bound to have problems trying to hold it together. So we're all at odds with each other. Everybody has different agendas for themselves, and they want concession. And oftentimes we like to have our way or highway, and we never really try to make concessions.
I totally get it. And look, there's two sides of the argument, right? Like, for example, if you broaden your big tent out so far that your core values are now eliminated, then what good was winning, right? I understand that perspective. However, I'm with you more on this side, which is this. of course, there are people in the conservative movement that I despise and I think are completely wrong, whether it be from an individual moral perspective, from a political perspective that they advocate for. But at this point, like when the horrible shit that we're seeing from the Democrats, like the murder of Charlie Kirk, the celebration of Luigi Mangione, the assassination attempts on Trump, we can't come together now. We can't come together now. And
No,
that's what
not.
frustrates me. So I'll give you the last word here. Go ahead, man.
Well, yeah, this is one of the things that frustrates me with the libertarians and people like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like, look, I get it. You're gonna have problems regardless of what. You're not gonna be able to agree on everything, but you gotta learn how to strategize. We gotta learn how to, we could disagree over as we want to do, but we need to we need to stay united and try to at least beat the left's overwhelming violent tactics that they've been pushing on us. Like, we're not gonna. The fact that someone who pretty much said that, we wishing the death upon the kids of his opponents and fantasizing that, still won the election because the entirety of the left got together. It doesn't matter how bad they are, how generic they are. They still gonna come out and vote anyways. They're still gonna turn out for that person, regardless how egregious it is or how generic they are. And we gotta do this. I get it. We have to make some concessions. And we still have to pull our punches so we can still get things we want as well. We have to be able to still thread that line, still make concessions, but also try to get what the things that we want as well.
Yep, totally agree. Well, Miggy, great talking to you. I'll be doing the call-in show Monday, I would assume. So hopefully we hear from you then. It's always a pleasure, man. Hope you're feeling better with your neck, and we'll talk soon, man.
All right, you too.
All right, bye. Super chats, real quick. Chrysco, $20. Thanks, man. Says, I was thinking of going to the Second World War if it's in March. Could be a fun time. It's easier to meet and greet. But maybe by new job by then would take that out of the equation. Yeah, it'll be fun. And I'll have more details as things are coming up. I probably shouldn't do this, but people were talking about how rich I am with the sheds. I'm not going to do it. We don't have time. One of my favorite Monty Python sketches, you could look it up yourself, Arthur Two Sheds Jackson. Is it true you have not one, but two sheds? He's like, well, no, I contemplating getting a second shed. And why would you do that? Wade Boggs, $20, says, I heard Chair wants a new shed for Christmas. Hopefully Santa makes his wish come true. Chair would love that. All right. Creeper Killer, what's up, man? So sorry we don't have more time, but thank you so much for calling in.
Yeah. There's a quick question. What's your thoughts on U.S. operations in the South America and the Caribbean right now with Venezuela?
So for example, with like Venezuela and blowing up the fishing or the what are being called fishing boats, but with Trump still calling the narco boats.
With the drug boats. Do you think? Well, they're trying to negotiate right now. Do you think if it was to go hot, the U.S. would be able to manage a regime change without turning into Syria or Afghanistan?
Yeah, I think that. Well. I'll say this in general. What happens is when the United States meddles in these affairs and gets someone deposed, oftentimes what happens is it's replaced with someone that's even worse, like you could see in Syria. So I'm actually against this. I'm perfectly fine with the idea of if we think that there are narco terrorists that are coming into our country, that we should be allowed to eliminate it. And I'm fine with protecting our country from cartel members and stuff in Mexico, or for that matter, anyone in South America. The idea, though, of participating in regime change once more, I think more often than not, this ends up negatively. And what happens is, even if this ends up positively, the amount of sort of resources and political capital that Trump's putting into it, it's a huge mistake. While we're messing around with this sort of stuff, we see that young people back in the United States feel like they'll never be able to afford a home, that groceries are going up, that they can't afford health insurance. So yeah, it's a lengthy conversation, which maybe I'd be happy to talk to you later in the week if you call in. But yeah, as I see it, I'm not in a lot of support of the idea of like trying for regime change in Venezuela, which looks like it may happen, by the way. It looks like that there, at least if it's going to happen, you hope that it's without like a sort of color revolution and violence. And it looks like
fast and quick.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
thanks. Bye.
Hey, Creeper, thank you so much. Sorry I didn't have more time for you, but always appreciate it, man. It's always great to hear from you. Take it easy. All right. Nolan, what's happening? I'm so sorry I don't have more time, but thank you for calling in.
I get it. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
All right. So I got my own personal bugbear when it comes to COVID, and that's with Gilead. Have you heard of a treatment called Remdesivir?
Yes.
that was the main treatment for COVID. It was like recommended by the WHO, I think, in 2022. I work as a pharmacy technician. We were making tons of the stuff, and it cost like $500 a vial. An average regimen of it was like 4 of them. And like they were costing insurances like anywhere from like $2,500 to $3,500, depending on if you had like government insurance or not.
Sure.
And I'm just saying, it'd be really nice, you know, if you were, say, a congressman, that you knew that Gilead was going to come out with the sole like treatment.
That would be
for COVID,
nice, wouldn't it?
You know?
Start investing. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah.
It would be, wouldn't it? Well, you know. Anyway, that's all I got. That's my own.
No, it's a salient point. And like the idea, if people, I'll say this, and I'm sure you'll agree with this. When you look at just something simple like network television, the percentage of ads that come from the pharmaceutical country, it's shocking. It's
insane.
Absolutely shocking.
Insane.
How deep those tensions go.
Paxlovid gets pushed a lot. I saw a lot of commercials for that too, and that's not a cheap med either.
And, you know, that was one of the things I liked about a potential RFK pick. But so far, been hamstrung. Let's see if something happens. But, Nolan, I'd love to talk to you more in the future. Thanks so much, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. All right. We're close. We need 30% left our goal. Now, I'm not very good at math, but even me, with a nice round number like 250, I think we need $157. Let's see. I'm going to randomly just scroll through the chat, and this is my prediction of who's going to donate that money. Oh, EOD! Randomly chosen. And actually, it's not 157. It's 107. What a fucking idiot. Oh, Evers. After mocking it would be easy to do that math, I fucked it right up. So
I was sitting here waiting patiently with my new book of ideas I had for robnoerr, and then impromptu call. This is not what was scheduled.
Now I know that. But listen, I know I could call you later in the day because here's what's going on. I took a bunch of other calls today, one of which was very exciting with my man Black Elk. And it is official. We're going to be working together for a long, long time. So I'm super stoked. Black Elk is the man. Next time we do a debate con thing, we're dragging his ass out there.
Hey,
no excuses. We're going to drag Black Elk out.
Hey, OD. Hey, Wade Boggs.
Oh, it's just Gerald.
Everybody's saying hi. No, I was up late last night. I came up with a new game plan. I'm really excited to bring it to the table today.
You got it now, or you announce?
No, we want to bring their ideas. I don't want to spoil our new fun for the audience.
Or you could go over to Mr. E's channel, and if they donate enough, you could spoil them there, like you did the video. You know, if people,
this is how I go backwards grift here.
Backwards grifting up each other. That's funny. Man, that guy was giving Mr. E shit last night, wasn't he? And then he left a nasty, well, I won't donate to you anymore message on one of my videos today. I was like, Mr. E has that effect on people.
That's what happens. on the other side, though, things were fun. I got to talk to FTFE today. So that was cool. I got to show him the video. He loved it. He said,
awesome.
He and I quote said, made him look badass. So I was pretty happy about that.
Certainly true. That's absolutely true.
So that was cool. I
got a meeting with the project we're working on in Atlantic City here. I got a meeting with that coming up in about 7 minutes. I think it's supposed to be like 5:20. It's supposed to come up. So I'm excited to do that. And then, I'll give you a call here later this evening. But in general, I think that we absolutely crushed it last night. That's what I think. That's what I think happened. I think we did two things that were amazing. One, I think we entertained the audience. And second, even though he won't admit it, I think Mr. E was slightly annoyed, which is also good, right? He's like, what the fuck is this whipsaw?
Well, actually, no. So let's not fret. This morning I was talking to Mr. E, who didn't sleep well last night. And I was
whipsaw lyrics stuck in his head.
Morning. It was somehow in the morning, VC, which never happened. So everybody's like, oh, Mr. E's in here. So I was like, fuck this. I'm going to be me. And so I was going in there. And he said, actually, and I quote, and you'll probably not admit this, but I did a good job with the Disney song.
Yeah.
He said it was fun. He'll deny
it to the grave. He'll be like, I never said that. Fun. Fuck you.
So, and he said that he's going to come back for more. So,
nice.
Yeah, so I'm exciid.
Nice.
I like hanging out with Mr. E. He's actually one of those people that I came into the foundry like with a pregnant wife, and really scared, or not even that at the time. I was almost pregnant, like 3 months till or so. Really scared about going into having family, right? And for Mr. E was the first one to go, well, what the fuck are you talking about? You're richer than most or whatever, get kids, like go make more. Like just started like beating me down. All right, I'll go make kids. Sure shit, 3 months later, here we are. And now 7 months after that, we're at term. So I was like, hey.
You're literally, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, you're at the position where you may have to drop your headset and run out at any moment, right? Yeah. Crazy. It's a crazy feeling. It really is. Now, my big joke when my wife was in labor, and it was a long labor, she had a very nice doctor that would come in, and these were the two jokes. Like, she's going to hate me for talking about this, but the first was, they don't call you like the husband or the boyfriend. I was the support person. So I kept being like, she's trying to talk to my wife about serious stuff, and I was like, excuse me, I have a question. And the doctor would be like, yeah. I was like, can you admit that I'm like one of the best support persons that you've ever seen? And she'd be like, I guess you're doing fine. I'm like, no. It's better than fine. Admit that I'm doing an amazing job. She'd be like, okay, I guess you're doing.
Look at, there's Wally. I actually got to show the video to Wally today.
Oh, nice. Cool. I'm sure Wally was, yeah. And then the other thing was they had a picture, like a dilation picture up on the wall.
Oh.
And it started with like Cheerio and then went to Penny and it went up. And so like the doctor would come in and she'd be like, okay, well, we're still working. We're not quite yet ready. And I would be like, Courtney, here's what she's saying. You're down here at Cheerio and we need you at Everything Bagel. I was like, that's where we need to be, at Everything Bagel. And the doctor's like laughing. She's like, what are you doing? I was like, can I ask a question? She's like, what? I'm like, why is it an Everything Bagel? They couldn't have just went with a regular bagel? She's like, I don't know. I didn't make this. My wife says, can we not talk about that? All right. Well, okay. Anyways,
but I'm trying to get my wife to the Everything Bagel, Courtney.
That's right. Everything Bagel. Make sure she knows. We need you at Everything Bagel. That's where we're heading. But I was definitely, I was trying to ham it up. It's weird though. Then this is another, she probably hates me talking about this. They took her, like, she ended up like going into a different room and it has to be sterile and all of that stuff. And so like, you wait here and then put this on. You have to put the little booties on and like basically this whole full body gown to make sure that, nothing on you, germs or stuff. So I wait there and they're like, we'll come get you. Okay. I shit you not. They take her over. 5 minutes later, I hear an alarm. And I'm like freaking the fuck out. And you just see like the lights are all blinking and there's an alarm going off. And I'm like sitting there. I'm like, what do I do? Is this like an emergency? I don't know what's happening. What the fuck's going on? And I'm sitting there for like 5 minutes, like peeking out the window, like, where the fuck's anyone going? And finally, like a nurse is like, oh, you're still in here. I'm like, yeah. Is everything all right? They're like, yes, it's a fire drill. Your wife's fine. We'll take you out. But for like 5 seconds, I'm like, oh, fuck, what's happening? It was the worst.
I'm going to be the worst in there. I'm going to be like going into the operating room with like a snorkel and some flippers. They'll be like, sir, what's going on? I'm like, I'm here for the spelunking. They're like, sir, this is a pregnancy.
The grill gloves and tongs. You're like, I'm ready. We got it. We're good to go.
Some barbecue tongs. Hey.
But yeah, then like every time we're out after that, people would be like, oh, how was delivery or anything? I'm like, I had a great time. It's fantastic for me. I was having an absolute blast.
Our wives are going to be like, we had to go through.
And then like afterwards they're like, okay, well, don't be doing anything like strenuous. We don't want you pushing a vacuum for so long. And I was like, this is bullshit. I was like 20 years, what a crock of shit. Can't push a vacuum. Get out there.
20 years from now, or maybe even 50, or maybe 60 years from now, when we're long dead and we're going to have our wives are going to be together, just sitting there talking about us. And they're going to have other young women talking to them. They're like, what would you suggest for us to be like, don't marry men who like trains?
Don't. Yes, it's very. Well, I was on that panel the other day and Dusty kept saying like, do you have autism? And it's like, probably, but I'm not giving you that. Like your poor argument's not my autism.
I already got it down. I'm going to be like, as they're in the operating room, I'm just going to pull the friends and just be like, hey, dog, pivot. It's gonna be fantastic.
I'm getting a message. I'm gonna have to get going now. I think what we could do is, though, we could still shame people. We got 5 more minutes. We could shame people to send your donations. Now, I just want to say, there's this guy. You're not going to believe what he said 2 days ago. 2 days ago, he said $357 a day is highly unreasonable.
Oh, my Lord.
Now, normally, people are like, yeah, but you got a night show, too. But not tonight. This is it. This is it. And so that guy's going to win. Right now, that guy is probably sitting on a beach with a pina colada, finally.
Listen, I'm not here tonight. I got the F1 race, Vegas. So,
yeah,
the
nice.
TikTok invasion. So, those are both
I'm going to try to watch the invasion and call in tonight. I'm going to try my best.
I love invading. It's one of my favorites. So.
I'm just thinking of like a voice I can. Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I mean, you do that. I just go in like me. I just go in like Avarice. Like, I mean, what you see is what you get. So,
my lefty name that I came up with was Arlo Kalebeard. So my name's Arlo Kalebeard, and I was just calling to say that I didn't really care for that last gentleman.
But you have to put the glasses on if you do it.
Well, I wasn't going to use video, but I suppose I could. Yes,
you should. Yeah, and then you should stream it live too.
And take the hat off, and then we go. You got the Harry Potter glasses.
There we go. Oh, dude. There they are.
Hi. How are you guys?
Send to the donos just for that. Leftist Rob.
Thanks.
Clip it.
Thank you for everyone. Thank you.
Come on, clip that. Leftist Rob.
I'm transitioning.
Like you got a comb over. Little comb over.
What you see is like you get. There's nothing to be done with that pile of shit up there. Yeah, you gotta like front your shoulders up a little.
Guys.
Hey guys, what's up? So I was actually, I can't believe the misogyny that I saw at my D&D game. I was coming back from the Magic the Gathering tournament, and these people were so misogynistic, and they were attacking the orcs that were just trying to provide for their family. I didn't care for it, but a girl did touch my hand accidentally, so that was nice. You know?
I tried to resolve it with animal handling, but the woman got me all excited.
Now listen, the Just Shave It Off crowd. I, at this point, don't give a shit what happens with my hair. But my wife does not want me to shave it all off. So I said, it's fine. It's no problem for me. So there you go. Trans advocate Rob. Trans positive Rob. I could do trans positive Rob. I don't know. The key to be a good TikTok invader is to carry on whatever joke is already going on when you get there. So like
let's start with hold on. Start with rule number 1. Let's not like kick out. First rule is to mute the stream in the background.
That's absolutely true.
Let's start with number 1.
That's it.
All right, then now continue.
Yeah, and the key is the best ones are when someone just keeps playing off the joke from the previous person. So like one of my favorite was this guy had this demand when you call in, tell me who you voted for, and whatever you do, don't ask what the prompt means. And so people would be like, I voted for Donald Trump, and I was just wondering, what does the prompt mean? Click, and you get all pissed off. Then the next person calls in, Donald Trump, kind of curious. What does that prompt mean? That's good shit. Bandit, it's true. $3.57 is unreasonable. All right. Well, Avarice, I got to go. I'm going to yell at people.
It's been a pleasure.
I got to jump over on my call. Yes.
See you tomorrow. Or we'll talk tonight. See you tomorrow.
I will try to talk tonight. Yes, I will try. So, all right, man. Good luck with your race and good luck with the invasion. Oh, he left. That's all right. All right. Final push for $105. Can it be done? I don't know. I hear my son downstairs. He's yelling about something, but I think he's having fun. Grow a rat tail for the back. I could do that. All right. We're going to raid Chris Lestrange. I saw that he's on, so tell Chris I said hi. Good dude. So TikTok invasion at some point tonight. I don't know when. I should be back around 10 p.m. tomorrow evening, though the weekend shows are optional. It looks like we're going to fall short today. However, he's yelling about pickles. My son's yelling about pickles. Final push. A lot of talk about labor today. True. Good stuff. While the outro video plays, some Chad's going to donate $100. So all I need someone to do at this point is to donate $5. And some Chad's going to donate the 100 that'll get us to 357. They're just waiting for someone to donate that $5. So someone could do it. I know that someone's capable. Oh, Abby, thank you so much. $50 for the goal. There we go. $5 and we only need another 50. Thank you so much. By the way, Abby, not only thank you for the incredible donation both last night and tonight and for just generally being amazing, but thank you for showing the guy that was talking mad trash on Mr. E that actually all of his talk about big donations and you blew him out of the water anyways. Absolutely amazing. Thank you, Abby. And look at that. Fuel my fire. $5. Says, gotcha. Here's your 5. Thank you so much. That's it. We're only $50 away. Someone could donate it during the outro video. I know it could happen. We're going to see it. We're going to get there. We're not going to let them win. We're not going to leave the people that locked us down under COVID win this thing. We're going to get that $50 and show those interdimensional space vampires that are sucking the souls of our children that they can't win. We're going to cheer on the dynamic human spirit. Stop doing my Alex Jones here. Oh, getting closer. Shazzy Bear, $10. I hope that helps. Not one fucking step back. Totally agree. Yeah, Hydro's all right. He's all right. I know that he and Mr. E don't get along. Now he probably doesn't get along with me either. But that's okay. Them's the breaks in life. Do an invasion as myself? I probably will, if I'm honest. All right. We're a mere $30 away. $37 away. Someone will donate it during the outro. You guys have been the best. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all your support. Please continue to stay through the raid to Chris Lestrange. Give him a thumbs up. Give him a like. I'm sure he will very much appreciate it. Thank you so much to my wonderful moderators who are the best. Thank you to everyone who called in. Thank you to Black Elk. Like I said, I had an awesome call with him today, and I think it's going to be really productive. A lot of stuff me and Black Elk have going on in the future. It's going to be great. So I can't wait to be continuing to work with him on amazing projects. Thank you to everyone who donated. Thank you to everyone that chatted. Thank you to everyone who didn't. I appreciate you all. As the outro plays, someone make sure to send in the $50 or so we need to reach the goal. Someone's out there waiting. I know you can do it. The outro is about a minute long. Just, secondly, and more importantly, all joking aside, please, I implore you, keep that memory of Charlie Kirk in your heart. If this show did one thing, I hope that it helps illustrate that we actually need to be able to keep the memory of these sort of seminal moments in our society, like COVID, like the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We need to keep those moments. We do. Charlie Kirk was a great man that was taken from us, and then they mocked his wife and they mocked him as he was, and never forget that. So God bless Charlie Kirk. God bless his family. Amicad, look at this with his OCD. Unbelievable. What a Chad. $36.08. That kid says, go! Thank you so much, Amicad. Right on target. 357. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless all of you. And God bless Charlie Kirk and his family. We'll see you all soon. Have a good one.
Only in America is it possible to say, you know what, I don't like the way the country is going, and to do something about it. Take that risk. Take that leap of faith. Stay involved. Trust God and act obediently. Romans 12:2 verse. That God will use all things for good for those who love him. It's bigger than you. I want you to remember that. It is bigger than you. It's bigger than me. You are here to make somebody else's life better, the pursuit of liberty and freedom. You know what gives me strength? The hundreds of thousands of you that say, Charlie, keep going.
1 Corinthians 5 and 15. So that's all pretty amazing evidence, not just intra-biblical evidence, but extra-biblical evidence that Jesus Christ was a real person. He lived a perfect life. He was crucified, died, and rose on the third day, and he is Lord and God of all.